Welcome to the Healthy Perspective Podcast with your host, chiropractor, entrepreneur, mentor, and author, Dr. Chris Bowman. He'll break down and extract the secret sauce behind his own success and the success of some of the top leaders in every category and from around the world. Get ready for your weekly mental adjustment because shift is going to happen.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me on another episode of the Healthy Perspective Podcast. Today, we have another local to my area of Murrieta, California, Miss Marissa Tuer. She's a wife, soon-to-be mom of two, entrepreneur, and business owner of It's Peachy, a positive place to do life together, and co-owner of Cultivate and Conquer, business coaching community for small businesses. Lover of all things wellness, community, and positivity. I've gotten the privilege to get to know Marissa, being in the Cultivate and Conquer group, taking care of her family, walking through, this new pregnancy and all of that stuff. So it's always fun for me to bring people that I'm familiar with on, because I feel like we get to have a real authentic, conversation. And it's always fun for me to have somebody local too. That way this message will be shared with people that know you, see you on social media, but don't necessarily get to see, the behind the scenes. So thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here with you today, Chris.
So I've been following you much longer than we've known each other in person and Cultivate and whatnot. Always seeing It's Peachy events and whatnot. I know we talked a little bit about you doing, real estate and all that stuff before. Why don't you just kind of start, not from the beginning of when you were born, but, just kind of start have you always been working? What made you want to launch your own company? What is exciting for you about being an entrepreneur as a mom? And then we'll just kind of take it from there.
Yeah, that's a very loaded question. I feel like I could spend the whole podcast just talking about this one subject, but I'll make it brief. The biggest motivation for me kind of behind entrepreneurship is coming from the corporate world. I was just starting to get unfulfilled in where I was. It was great for a season of my life. It was very fulfilling at first, a huge blessing to my family for what it provided. And then I think once I became a mom, priorities shifted a little bit. I was commuting, I was working a ton, I was away from my family. And there was a certain disconnect from growing up in this local Temecula Valley area. This is where I grew up. This is where my home and my heart is. It's where we put roots down as a family. And then I was commuting and driving away to San Diego, which I obviously love San Diego. It's incredible. But if I'm gone Monday through Friday in San Diego, and then I'm barely getting to spend time with my family here in Temecula and, supporting local businesses, I just felt like something needed to change. And that's kind of the catalyst behind what ended up being It's Peachy. It's Peachy was in my mind for actually years to come. I was kind of trying to decide what that actually looked like. So I know my sister and I would always have so many heart-to-hearts. She's my person who I'd always share my dreams with. And there was just one day, it was during the summer, we were hanging out in my backyard in the pool, and the name It's Peachy came about, and I just really locked in my vision for what I wanted. And then I started the back end of what, the brand identity, the logo, all just that back end stuff. And right when I was about to launch, the world shut down. Mm-hmm. And I thought at first, I'm oh, this would be a horrible time to launch a business. Everything's all shut down.
And launch what type of company?
What was that?
And launch what type of company? What did It's Peachy do?
So It's Peachy hosts a lot of local community events. It brings
local live events, right?
Yeah, local live events. And then the world shuts down, right? And it's so funny because I just felt as a human, I just have so much to give. I have so much to share. I have so much, I just want to pour out into other people. And so I wanted to create this amazing community specifically for women, since obviously I'm a wife, I'm a mom. So I wanted to create this awesome space, and then the world shut down. So at first you think, oh, this is a horrible time to launch this type of business, right? And then I realized, no, it's the perfect time. People are stuck and isolated in their homes with fear and negativity surrounding them at every turn. So I said, you know what? I'm going to launch this, even if it looks a little bit different than what I, originally anticipated. I was originally picturing this huge launch party, all. So I shifted and pivoted on the back end and realized, you know what, we can do a few virtual events. And I thought we'd have to do a lot more virtual events, but fortunately in our area, people wanted in person.
Mhm.
So I quickly actually started doing in-person events. And I think I was one of the only people really in the area doing it. And fortunately, I only got love, at least that I heard. I never got any negative feedback, but everyone really just drew to it because it was something that was just so needed in our area.
And that's the heart of a true entrepreneur, is when some people see a problem, entrepreneurs see opportunity, right?
Mhm.
To literally be the only person doing live events in Southern California, it's unheard of, and I love that resiliency and that mindset. You talk about your sister was a person that you would share your dreams with, and
Mhm.
started crafting a vision around and whatnot. Those unfortunately aren't very common terms. And I would have to say, I would probably say 60 to 75% of my clientele is moms. And
Mhm.
talking with most of them, there isn't really that dreamy side of their brain anymore. There isn't really this vision crafting. I don't know. I think the word that's been coming up most is an intentional life. It seems like
Mhm.
more of a reactive life rather than actually creating something that's wonderful. How did dreaming and vision casting, like how did all that stuff get instilled into you?
Oh, that is so good. I love that question. Yeah, it's so funny. I totally agree with you on that because I feel like so many people kind of just settle and they're like, okay, this is my life. This is what's happening. And they think, I think a lot of people kind of have the victim mentality, and we could go down a whole nother rabbit hole with that, but people just settle and think that's their life. And fortunately, I grew up with a dad that instilled in me from my childhood that he would literally say, the sky is the limit. You can do whatever you want to do. He was an entrepreneur himself. So I saw that even if I didn't fully understand it at the time as a child, I saw him working hard. He had employees, he had his own business, how he treated those employees and those team members as well really left a mark on me. So he just really instilled that in me. And then my sister, we're 2 years apart. We both just, whenever we get together, we just instantly talk about our life goals and our life dreams. And so that's just all I've known, honestly. I've never actively thought I need to do that. It's just how we've always been.
Yeah. Now, kind of branching that into like it's Peachy. I'm sure
Mhm.
even if moms in this community don't necessarily have visions of being an entrepreneur, I think those same principles are important, like dreaming with your child and casting a vision for the family. How do you kind of instill, and I don't know if you've actually thought about this, but how do you kind of instill those things that help you live an intentional life, with these moms, with these communities, and then maybe even attaching that cultivate and conquer? Like what's the DNA? I feel like it's very similar. Your heart with entrepreneurs, as well. How do you kind of instill these principles within, what you teach or how you coach or the moms that are coming to you?
Mhm. Well, I'll touch on Cultivate and Conquer real quick as well. For anyone that hasn't heard of it, Cultivate and Conquer is an entrepreneurship program for small business owners, specifically locally, because we do in-person meetings, but we do a digital platform and webinars as well. And it actually started as an It's Peachy event because, It's Peachy is kind of twofold. It's bringing the community together, but it's also supporting our local community and small businesses. Again, especially during the pandemic, when a lot of them got shut down, we wanted to really pour back into our community and support them. So I would have so many small business owners, asking me for advice for this, asking me for advice on that. And so we realized, and with when I say we, it's my business partner, Amanda Fritcher as well. We realized, okay, let's just start a program for all of these questions we're getting. And as soon as we had the idea in a brainstorming session, we launched it the next week and instantly had 40 local businesses sign up. It was just, when you go to like create something that you really are solving a natural problem, it's going to be a success because you're not just creating something out of nothing. You're creating something from the demand and you're seeing that and you're reacting to that. But to answer also your question, I just think it's so important for whether you're an entrepreneur or your mom or a wife or you're a college student, no matter what, I think just always working towards creating that dream life that you truly want and knowing your worth and knowing that you do deserve that. You do deserve more. You just have to work for it and honestly think big enough to achieve that. I think so many of us, I know we were just chatting about limiting beliefs the other day in another context, but so many people really do have limiting beliefs and think they can only go so far, maybe because of the circumstances they, saw when they were growing up or what their friends and family are doing around them. But I think the biggest shift that people need is just mindset, knowing that they can achieve more, knowing that they deserve more, and just knowing that they can do it. And then if they don't know the action steps to actually make that happen, then that's when you reach out to someone, and you ask for help. We can't succeed by ourselves. So that's the whole point of our community.
Yeah, it's so good. I love that it's not this like maverick mentality where you just have to put your head down, lone wolf it, and go, and I love the quote because I've been there. I've been lone wolf. I've been maverick before. And the quote that really helped me change that mentality was, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with people. Right. And I love that this vision isn't just like, how can I make some money real quick from some entrepreneurs, but it's like building it, because building community is hard. You got quirks, you got different personalities. I know one thing that I kind of want to get into that's really important to you as well, and I think really pivotal and integral in your success is your faith and your ultimate, like where the source of your creativity comes from. As you know, I just finished writing my book, Perspective, Rewire Your Brain for Success and Abundance. And, I mentioned my faith a little bit, kind of throughout my story and all that stuff. But at the very end, there's an epilogue, because I didn't want to force Jesus on people. Like if you're reading the book and then you just get this blurb of like church, like, I didn't want to throw people off. So I wrote in the epilogue so people can read it if they want to, if they don't want to read it, whatever. But I talk about, in the beginning was God, and God created the earth, and then God created man in his image. And so the very first reflection that man had was his reflection of his creativity, right? And I think ultimately that's who we are as Christians, as humans. We are creative beings because we have an infinitely creative God. How does kind of uniting those two purposes, because ultimately we build community so that we can help people recognize there's an eternal community out there, that we just want to love on. How do you kind of like combine the two of like, you have this pool of people that love you and respect you and take advice from you and are watching you? How do you combine your faith into that?
I love that question so much, because that is like the root and the core of who I am, like just to my core so much. And faith plays a huge role, and I mean, it's the role, it plays in every aspect of my life, from my family to my career to my relationships. Every single aspect, faith plays a huge role in. And I agree, it's trying to find that balance, right? Especially when it comes to business, between, yes, it plays a role, but you also don't want to throw it in people's faces, right? There's like a quote, hopefully I don't butcher it, but it's, let's see, you don't have to know God or know Jesus to be my friend, but to be my friend, you're going to know that I love Jesus. And that's the way I see it, is you don't have to be Christian. You don't have to have any faith. You don't have, but you notice that there's something different about me. People ask me nonstop, why are you so happy? How are you so positive all the time? How is this? It's like, if you want to know the real answer, my joy doesn't come from this world. It doesn't come from circumstances. It doesn't come from, the mood I wake up in or whatever. It's like my deep down joy comes from the Lord, and it comes from eternity. It comes from heaven. So it's finding that balance in business. And for It's Peachy, when I created It's Peachy, especially again, coming out of the corporate world where I wasn't as happy anymore, because I felt like I had to, I was working for someone else. So if I'm going to start my own business and I'm working for myself, I'm going to make it a true reflection of myself and make it exactly how I want. And part of that is my faith. And so with It's Peachy, I'll share my faith on there, and it's take it or leave it. It's not like you have to be a faith-based person to be a part of the community, but just know that that's who I am at my core, and I will share that at any chance I get.
Yeah. I had, and this isn't like a boastful thing for me, but I think it's saying this, it's a reflection of how you carry your life as well. I was going to pay a coach a lot of money to kind of help take me to the next level. I've never really paid a coach that I wasn't aligned with from a faith perspective, because there's decisions that I make that are not logical, that are sometimes I don't know, illogical, unlogical,
It's
whatever
in
the
the
opposite.
supernatural.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
just like I do things based on what the Holy Spirit tells me to do rather than the principles of business all the time, or whatever. And so he's getting to know me, and a very genuine guy, very authentic, person, not a bad shisty, unauthentic person at all. But as he's getting to know me, he's like, something that I really like about you and respect about you and know that you're going to be successful because like you're a Christian. It's very evident. Your faith is very important to you, but you're not somebody that's like, I don't feel judged if I don't believe the same things as you. And I think that's so important in the church today. And I think it's unfortunate because the church used to be the center of culture, the center of innovation, the center of, if you're lost, like this is where you're going to find yourself. And in today's world, especially post coronavirus, especially in the United States, it's kind of opposite, where the church has kind of been replaced for either Christian nationalism, where we have more hope and fight for freedoms and against mandates and against for this political party, that political party. And there's churches in the area that are one side and the other. And I love businesses like yours, and I would hope to think businesses like mine, where there is this very not hidden, but not necessarily oppressive I don't know, environment of faith. Like the reason people feel like they belong is ultimately because it's Christ in me that you're getting loved on. How can people, like, let's say they're they've given up church a long time ago, they've been burned, they've been they haven't wanted to go back, or something like that, or really they just don't know how to go into a church or anything like that, but they're interested maybe in a group like yours, or talking with yours. How do people get a hold of you? How do people find you? Can people have that faith discussion with you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm an open book when it comes to faith, because literally nothing makes my day more when I get a message on Instagram or a text message and they say, I picked up my Bible because of you. And that could be for the very first time, or maybe they've fallen off, it's just been years. We all go through ebbs and flows in our relationship with the Lord. And nothing makes my day more than a text message like that, because that at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Cool, you can sign up to come to my event. I love that. But if you tell me that you're picking up your Bible because of something I said or something that resonated with you, like that makes my day. So people can always reach out to me on social media. I'm sure you'll tag my handles in here. But I would say, well, first, something you said sparked a thought too. I just want to say, because I think about this all the time, I know so many people have been maybe either burned in the past, like you said, from either a church or just people of the church, or maybe just have a bad experience, or just, maybe they've never been to church before. So there's like this preconceived notion or something, there's something negative about it. I just want anyone that has that, set that aside for one moment and realize that we're all broken people. No one's perfect. So if a church has burned you, I'm sorry, because that is unfortunate, but those are broken people. The church is not God. It's like you have to look to Jesus and God, because he will not break you. He will not burn you. He's the same as he was yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So turn to God. We have to realize that this world is made up of broken people, and there's no quote unquote perfect Christian. It's not about that. Like, we're all just coming to church to hopefully grow our faith, grow our relationship with the Lord, and do that in community. That's the most important thing. So yeah, I'd say for anyone that's looking to maybe grow their faith, either starting their faith or coming back to it, get a hard copy Bible. Like, it's great to have it on your phone in the app. That's super convenient, but I'm a big fan of having an actual Bible. Get a highlighter for anything that stands out to you. And then also either get involved in a Bible study group, or just choose a Bible study on your own to kind of accompany with that. That way you're not lost in this whole crazy Bible and not know where to start. I always recommend doing a Bible study that speaks to you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that advice. And I honestly, I didn't anticipate going this route, in our conversation, but I think I'm so happy that we did. And because we can talk about business, all we want, but ultimately it's like, I feel like this is what both of our hearts are burning to talk about. Like, how we're one step away from, like, how can we leverage this conversation into, and it's not leverage the conversation to convert someone. How can I leverage it to show them God's love?
Exactly. Nailed it on the head. That's always the thing. It's like, I just want to show people, like, hey, this is there. If you want to see see and know why I'm so happy, I'll show you. And then it's up to you. I'm not going to push it on you. It's up to you. But also real quick, I just wanted to mention too, that what you talked about with that business coach, I think it truly does come down to core values. That's why we speak so much on core values, specifically in Cultivate and Conquer with our entrepreneurs and small businesses, because I know for me personally, when I'm looking to either hire someone, buy someone's product, go after them for the services they provide, if I realize our core values align, you are the perfect example. I'm all in. Like, I want to support you, your family. Like, I see those core values that instantly builds trust with me. And I'll go the extra mile to support that business, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that's one big thing that's kind of come out of this pandemic is, whether you support, I mean, look at what's going on with Carhartt right now, like super divisive, but you know what I mean? Like, I just saw a video this morning of somebody like markering out the Carhartt, logo or, like something like that. And I think, the pandemic has brought out like, hey, you can choose to support people and companies that you believe in. There's plenty of alternatives. And like what you did, if there isn't something going on, start your own, so exactly. If that's something that you're interested in, starting your own community, starting your own business, obviously check out Cultivate and Conquer. If you're not in the area, the webinars and online platform is just as inclusive as the in-person. I wish you could make it to the in-person. If you're not around here, it's always fun to mingle and, just get that physical presence, but the online is definitely worth it as well. So Marissa, thank you so much for joining me. This is a great conversation. And I look forward to people listening to it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Chris. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Healthy Perspective Podcast. To connect with Dr. Bowman, follow him on Instagram @Dr. Chris Bowman. Until next time, make shift happen.